Okay, in this video I'm going to talk more about the ABC elders, and that basically took over. They have the power and control, but in a good way, over the radio station in Victorson County. And they have mentioned this in another video, they wanted it to be all facts, no fiction, except, okay, now that's the part I didn't say. They had made a decision about some stories that were going to be they're going to be fiction, but based on fact, okay? And this started early 2020. But basically, they like I said, they have power and control. And a lot of people think that if somebody has power and control, that they're rather narcissistic or, something negative. Now, this has been basically the way it has been since the beginning of Victorson County, way back with the early settlers, and it became a county eventually. And that's how it has been. The people who were the elders, considered the elders, whatever age it was at that time, they basically ran the county. Okay, they were a bit secluded from the rest of the, in Texas, from other counties, except for one small one. And they like to keep it that way. Everybody living there, they like to keep it this way, that they are not dependent too much on outside world. They buy one another's items and so forth. They have their own radio station, and they have their own social media platform that's called Virtual County. And they basically like that, they have it the way they want it, and it has been for generations. So, okay, so basically, the ABC elders, when they were, they had these rolling lockdowns starting back in early 2020, and they were basically divided up from where they had been living on the XYZ ranch. They were divided up to different ranches that basically surround the county inside, surround the towns on the outside perimeter of those towns, and they were divided up. The ABCs went to the ABC ranch, and they go usually by age, interest, whatever it is that they want to go by. And their interest was the radio station. It became the radio station because two of them it's a married couple. They were counselors, and they heard Sherry's narcissistic histrionic woman and a counselor, but she is one of the few who, she's one of many counselors. The other counselors, no, they're not like this, and pretty much. And anyway, now Sherry, she's in her 50s, and they just didn't like some of the things the way she was doing, because she was too easily swayed by people who called in, especially people who were more like, I think, trolls. And they would put up a good argument, but Sherry would be swayed by them. She would kind of start to follow their lead, and then they would sort of doubt her, her knowledge, and she would get that attitude, and she'd get angry. Okay, they just didn't like that. They wanted everything to be fact, and so they made a decision, to confront her. And Sherry didn't want to lose her job. Her husband, who was the ads, he was basically the ads guy, for the radio station. And, she knew, the way her bread was buttered, and, but she still held that anger within her. And Sherry did grow up in Victorson County. Now, she's known since she was a child that's how it is, that they run the show, and they all respect it. It's a very wealthy county, and they're really good investors and such. And so she knew this going in, but overall, she still had the attitude of that she's somebody special, and like she knows more than anybody on this topic. That's not true. Okay, where did I leave off? I was had to stop and get some gas in my SUV. It's good to be able to get out and feel good, get out and go do these things myself, and even clean the front windshield and the back shield, whatever you call that. And first I did it wrong, and so I had to change to, it wouldn't work, so I changed to another pump and didn't realize what I was doing wrong. It's been a while. So, anyway, where was I in this story? I was talking about the radio station, and the ABC and the radio station, and then they decided, their interest was more like the radio station, and it kind of moved, and these are rough draft recordings, and believe me, things can change. It's helping me to organize my thoughts on these stories. This is a big, huge series. I've got close to 200 characters. Okay, so it's a huge one. Pardon the blinker. But anyway, so they decided they were going to make some changes all around, and one of them was that they have mentioned in another video that Sherry was not going to be the only counselor. Now, Sherry knows her subject, the subject. She is a counselor, licensed professional counselor. She knows the subject. Many people who have narcissistic histrionic blends of behavior, they're pretty good copycats. So, they can be even professors. Now, not all counselors, not all professors, not all people with narcissistic or histrionic and/or histrionic behaviors are this way. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. It's not. So, but this kind of type, okay, yeah, she's good. She knows her subject. She can memorize things and do the acts and knows how to use them. But her behaviors, like I said, she can go from just being led and following other people when no, she's the professional. She should not be led like that by just anybody, these callers. And then she gets irate, when her authority is questioned. So anyway, they said, had said that they were going to have other counselors going to come for that talk show, and they may have their own talk shows, because it seemed to be a thing. It seemed to be a thing that people really enjoyed, but it's going to be fact-based, fact-based. And as it went on, they also, developed and everything. They decided they wanted to try doing, the old-fashioned radio station. I don't know if anybody else had ever listened to the radio to listen to shows. My mother loved listening to, what was it called, Dark Shadows on the radio. Okay, back then it was on the radio, so it was also on TV. But she enjoyed listening to it on the radio, and people before then, and even her generation, they enjoyed that. I did too. So they decided to do something like that because they had a lot of people wanting, more. They didn't spend much time on the radio going, but they wanted more. And people in this county, Venturesome County, that they don't care for much, like I said, outside of it. So they're not much on watching TV, just like to get the news that they don't hear on the radio, they don't hear on their virtual county, can't see or read or whatever. So they barely, they're not people to watch cable TV. So they want something because, many of them are on lockdown, and during the times of lockdown, and some have to stay at home. So they decided to start doing like little, stories like that. But they wanted to base them, okay, this person's going to be annoying next to me. But they wanted to base them, like I said, everything based on fact. They're fiction stories, but based on fact. And so because of their, the interest was usually for all of them was some kind of mental, physical health care. Excuse me. Okay, where was I? But because of their focus, okay. Like they had people who were, like I said, counselors, people who are medical, but, like a psychiatry. They have, people who were social workers, sociologists, social workers. Those are two different things, by the way. And they both have to know what one another knows, pretty much. But anyway, as I used to say, sociology is theory, and social work is practice. Generally, not always. Okay, anyway, in those psychologists, they wanted to change, they decided to change and have, like I was saying, the radio station have these, they're going to have stories based on these kinds of concepts. And what they decided to how to do it was to have these counselors they have spoken to around the county, to have them write little vignettes, okay, you know, not real ones, but vignettes on things along this line, especially like mental health care, mental health issues. And then they would be sending them to people who were people like sociologists, writers, people who were psych majors, including some of them that would be helping would be the university students who were in whatever field appropriate. And they would write for radio, okay, stories like Poppy. Poppy is one who's a sociologist, and she would be writing stories from vignettes. Mainly Sherry would be sending in. They're trying to shift Sherry's focus and the vignettes. And Sherry chose the letter V, like one of them. Victor, okay, Vanessa, Virginia, Vivian, Violet, you know, these kinds of names. And she chose to use for her vignettes. And then Poppy would write stories, to write stories, and send it in. And eventually, over time, they got, I'll have little videos about these, but they got kind of like ghost writers to make it for radio, and it became popular. This is kind of summing all that up. But it got very popular. People were really enjoying it. Personally, I would really enjoy it. I haven't heard anything like that in many, many years. But just to listen and not have to have video. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, how often do you see me on video? But maybe once a year, maybe. I don't think I've done it this year. I'm not sure. But you see what I'm saying? Okay. So anyway, that's their shift. And they do have other kinds of plans for Sherry. Now, Sherry, like I said, she's just, they find her too abrasive. And just, like I said, sometimes she's just, you know, she loses her focus because of a smooth talker type. Easily persuaded, easily influenced. But then she gets angry. She's got that blend. And they have different plans for her in the long run. But like I said, she has her own counseling business. I don't think I said that yet. And her husband, William, works for the radio station as one of the ads guys. But he's hardly ever home. And he's very calm, cool, collected type. But he's hardly ever home. He's always off somewhere else, you know, often off somewhere else in the county doing his job. And he may stay there overnight and stuff. So he's not home that much. So I think I should just go ahead and wrap this up here. I'm about to stop at a store. And I already did once before. Anyway, there's more to this. I'm trying to get all the background information out. That's the problem with doing a video, kind of, you know, trying to make what's rough draft recordings for me, trying to put them on, you know, up on the channel. I've been doing this for years, and I have so many. I have 60-something videos that have yet to be made public. And I don't know how many that have been made public. But I have, like I said, maybe, I have around 175 to 200 characters. I don't know. I could quit counting after a certain number. And they're all on my desktop, the folders for them. Whew, it's a lot. But anyway, I'm going to give it a shot. I put them up some and take them down, and I'm going to try to stick to it. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, that's enough for now.